Welcome to the Oracle's Sanctum. This is not just another lecture or motivational talk. This is a free course. No fluff, no filler, only a direct and deep dive into the most powerful ideas of Carl Gustav Jung's psychology, with one clear goal: to help you master your shadow and through it master your mind. Now let me ask you, who should stay with me until the end? Anyone who struggles with anxiety, anyone living with depression, those who feel trapped by guilt, anger, or grief, those who try to move forward but keep falling back into the same self-destructive cycles, those who carry pains they cannot name, yet feel them every single day. If that sounds like you, then this course is for you. Throughout this journey, you will come to understand what the shadow really is, how it silently shapes your feelings, your thoughts, and your impulses. You will see why so many emotions you cannot control, sudden anger, anxiety attacks, unexplained sadness, chronic guilt, are not caused by the outside world, but by conflicts hidden within you. And more importantly, you will learn how to face all of this, not with shallow positivity, not with quick tips and surface-level hacks, but with a deep and transformative method built on more than a century of Jungian psychology. But first, let's be clear. This is not a video for passive consumption. This is personal work. It requires courage. It requires honesty. You may feel discomfort, but on the other side of that discomfort lies the freedom you've been searching for. So, let's begin. Carl Gustav Jung gave a name to this hidden, repressed side of the human psyche. He called it the shadow. The shadow is everything you reject, everything you repress, everything you simply refuse to acknowledge in yourself. Since childhood, you were taught what was acceptable and what was not. When you were polite, obedient, kind, you were rewarded. But when you expressed anger, envy, selfishness, or deep sadness, you were criticized, punished, or shamed. And like every child, you learned the rules. Certain feelings had to be hidden. Certain impulses had to be locked away in the dark. And this is how the shadow is born. But here is the truth most people never face. What you repress does not disappear. It doesn't vanish into nothingness. It stays alive, buried in your unconscious, and it keeps shaping your reactions, your thoughts, and your feelings. This is why people are overwhelmed by anxiety without knowing why. This is why depression takes root. A buildup of unprocessed emotions trapped in the darkness of the psyche. This is why anger explodes uncontrollably, why self-sabotage ruins your own progress. It is the shadow acting against you. But listen carefully. The shadow is not evil in itself. It contains qualities that, if recognized and integrated, can actually become sources of strength, creativity, and authenticity. The danger comes only when you refuse to see it. When you deny it, the shadow becomes autonomous. It acts on its own. And that is why so many people live trapped in emotional suffering that they cannot explain. You are not only the image you present to the world. You are not just your good side. You are also everything you fear to admit about yourself. The more you run from it, the weaker you become emotionally. But when you face it, when you bring it into the light, you begin to heal. Integrating the shadow is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming whole. It is about recognizing that anger, envy, fear, the desire for control, all of these are part of the human experience. And only by acknowledging them can you stop them from sabotaging your life in the dark. In the next part, you will see even more clearly how the shadow is at work in your daily life, how it quietly controls your emotions and your decisions, and why you cannot become emotionally unshakable until you understand this hidden mechanism. This is only the beginning. In the first part, we uncovered the truth of the shadow, that hidden force within you, born from everything you rejected, repressed, and locked away. But now we must go deeper, because the shadow is not just some abstract concept. It is alive. It acts. It shapes your life in ways you rarely notice. Think about the moments when you lose control, when anger rises out of nowhere, when anxiety grips your chest, even though nothing seems wrong, when jealousy poisons your relationships, when guilt keeps you awake at night. These are not random accidents. They are the shadow acting through you. The shadow thrives on denial. It knows that as long as you refuse to face it, it can pull the strings of your behavior from the darkness. It can whisper thoughts into your mind. It can flood your body with emotions you cannot explain. This is why Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. How many times have you repeated the same destructive pattern? How many relationships have ended for the same reasons? How many opportunities have you sabotaged with fear, procrastination, or self-doubt? It feels like bad luck. It feels like destiny. But, in truth, it is the shadow at work. To understand this more clearly, you must also know another concept, the persona. The persona is the mask you wear for the world. It is the role you play in society, the polite, controlled, acceptable version of you at work. You play the professional in front of family. You play the dutiful son, daughter, or parent. In social circles, you play the friendly companion. But behind every mask lies the truth you cannot show, and the stronger your persona, the more perfect the mask, the more powerful your shadow becomes. This is why people who appear calm and gentle in public can be consumed by rage in private, why people who seem confident are secretly drowning in insecurity, why people who appear selfless often hide a deep hunger for control. The persona and the shadow are two sides of the same coin. The brighter the mask, the darker the shadow it conceals. Now the question becomes, how do you recognize your shadow? How do you shine light on what has been buried for so long? The answer is not comfortable, but it is necessary. You must pay attention to your triggers. Notice the people who irritate you instantly. Notice the traits in others that provoke anger, jealousy, or disgust. Why do those qualities disturb you so deeply? Often, it is because they mirror a part of yourself you have rejected. If arrogance enrages you, perhaps you buried your own desire for power. If selfishness disgusts you, perhaps you denied your own need to put yourself first. If someone's vulnerability makes you uncomfortable, perhaps you suppressed your own softness, your own need to be cared for. The shadow does not only live in nightmares and trauma, it also hides in the everyday moments that trigger your strongest emotions. So here is your task. Observe yourself. Observe the anger, the jealousy, the envy, the fear. Instead of judging it, ask, what is this showing me about myself? Remember, the shadow is not the enemy. It is a messenger. It is the part of you that demands to be seen, and once you begin to see it, honestly, without excuses, you take the first real step toward integration. In the next part, we will move to the most challenging and transformative stage, how to confront the shadow directly, how to integrate it into your conscious life, and how this process unlocks hidden strength, creativity, and resilience you never knew you had. Up to this point, you have come to understand what the shadow is, how it was born, how it acts in your life, and how to recognize its presence through the emotions and reactions that overwhelm you. But now we arrive at the most important stage of all, confrontation and integration. Because knowledge alone is not enough. You can read 100 books about the shadow. You can understand the theory perfectly, but if you never face it directly, nothing will change. So how do you confront the shadow? The first step is honesty, radical honesty, the willingness to look at yourself without excuses, without masks, without defense. Ask yourself, what do I deny most about myself? What do I fear others would see if the mask slipped? What emotions do I quickly repress whenever they arise? Write them down, speak them aloud, face them, because the moment you name them, they lose some of their power. The second step is dialogue. Jung often encouraged people to imagine speaking with their shadow. Close your eyes. Picture the part of you that carries your anger, your envy, your fear. Ask it, what do you want? What are you trying to tell me? Listen carefully. The answers may shock you. The third step is integration. This means taking responsibility for these hidden parts and giving them a conscious place in your life. For example, your anger, when denied, becomes destructive, but when integrated, it becomes strength, the power to set boundaries, the energy to fight for what matters. Your envy, when repressed, poisons your relationships, but when integrated, it reveals your deepest desires and motivates you to grow. Your fear, when hidden, controls you from the shadows, but when integrated, it becomes caution and wisdom, a guide that keeps you safe. This is the paradox of the shadow. The parts of yourself you hate the most often carry the gifts you need the most. Now let us take one more step into Jung's framework, because behind the shadow lie even deeper structures of the psyche, the archetypes. The archetypes are universal patterns within the human unconscious. The hero, the mother, the wise old man, the trickster. These forces shape the myths of every culture, and they also shape the story of your own life. Your shadow is deeply connected to these archetypes. It often hides the rejected qualities of your personal archetype. The hero who fears his own weakness, the caregiver who denies her own need to be cared for, the wise man who represses his own ignorance. When you see these connections, you realize something profound. Your shadow is not random. It is the missing half of the story. You were meant to live, and integration means embracing that missing half, so your story can finally be whole. This is not easy work. It is not comfortable, but it is the work of liberation, because once you integrate your shadow, you are no longer ruled by it. Your emotions no longer control you. Your hidden wounds no longer sabotage you. You become stronger, calmer, more complete. This is what it means to become emotionally unshakable. Not that you never feel fear, or anger, or sadness, but that you know these emotions, you own them, and you are not enslaved by them. And this is the path Jung left for us. The path of individuation, the path of becoming whole. So, if you have followed this journey from the beginning, you have already taken the first steps. You have dared to look where most people refuse to look, and that courage alone sets you apart. But the journey does not end here. It is lifelong work, and if you continue with patience and persistence, you will discover strength, creativity, and freedom far greater than you ever imagined. Thank you for walking this path with me, here at the Oracle's Sanctum. If this course has resonated with you, if it has opened your eyes to new truths, Then join me for more explorations into the depths of psychology, philosophy, and the hidden dimensions of the self. Subscribe to the Oracle's Sanctum, share this journey with those who need it, and above all, keep going, because the shadow you fear today may become the source of your greatest power tomorrow. Until next time, stay aware, stay whole,